start with the pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening. Today is Tuesday, December 13, 2022. The time being 5:30 p.m. The meeting of the Greensburg Board of Works is called to order. At this time, please silence all electronic devices. To comply with Title VI of the Civil Rights Act of 1964, this is a request that participants complete a voluntary anonymous survey that's available on the table in the back of the room. Amy, would you please call the roll?
Jamie Kane.
Here.
Rodney King.
Here.
Glenn Tebby.
Here.
Karen D. Rust. Here.
I'm also present.
Joshua Marsh.
Approval of the minutes from November 9, 2022. You all should have received a copy of those. Any edits, additions, corrections? If not, take a motion to approve those as presented.
So moved.
Motion's made by Dee.
Second.
Second by Glenn. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? One abstention. There being no old business, we'll move directly to new business. Amy Robeg is here with us this evening to talk with us about a project we've been working on for a while. So good evening, Amy.
Hi, my name is Amy Romig. I'm an attorney with Cluse, Shanley, Racher, and Braun, and I focus in environmental law, including the Clean Water Act. I have been working with members of this board, as well as members of the publicly owned treatment work, and the mayor and Mr. Stevens on dealing with allegations about discharge from Valeo, one of the industrial pretreatment users of the system. In 2009, Valeo approached this board and asked if they could rescind their pretreatment permit, and the board agreed if they put in place a filter press, and at that time they did so. In a usual annual inspection that the treatment works does every year with any potential users, they discovered that that treatment press had not been used, and the board issued a cease and desist order so we could get to the bottom of what was happening. After investigation and negotiations, we believe that that filter press had been removed in 2014, and we started working with Valeo to address what we allege was noncompliance. Valeo disputes that they were not in compliance. They dispute that the removal of that filter press had any changes to the water that was discharged to the treatment works. We believe that the treatment works did have more expenses and costs with respect to that discharge and because of that discharge. Also, we believe that some of the calculations that had been done to develop the sewer use ordinance did not take into account that discharge, and they will need to be redone. These are the damages that we alleged as we worked with Valeo to reduce or to resolve this issue. Now, notwithstanding the issues with the alleged discharge, the treatment works did everything that it was supposed to do. They worked very hard, and they completely complied with their NPDES permit, and there was no harm to the public from the discharge from the treatment works of Greensburg. To resolve this, both parties realized that it would likely be significant litigation, experts would have to be hired, and both parties face risk. Towards that end, the parties agreed to a possible settlement, and in your board packet, I have put a proposal of the settlement that the treatment works is willing to sign and Valeo is willing to sign if approved by this board tonight. It includes a civil penalty of a total of $750,000 with $275,000 to be paid by June 30th, 2023, and the remainder to be paid upon December 31st, 2023. Of the $750,000, this includes two components. It is to reimburse Greensburg for the costs we allege that this discharge cost us, as well as a civil penalty. In my best professional judgment, this is an excellent settlement for both parties, and I respectfully request that the board approve this settlement tonight. Before then, I'm happy to answer any questions you might have.
Thank you, Amy, for your hard work and with Superintendent Zeke Smith and the whole team on trying to find a resolution to this for a large corporate member of our community. Board, any questions for Amy?
I just want to tell Amy I appreciate your time, efforts, and expertise. It was extremely helpful.
Thank you very much. And thank you for the opportunity to work with Greensburg.
Oh, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to echo what my colleague here said, is that I appreciate your involvement and Mr. Stevens' involvement, Josh's. The negotiation was respectful and very deliberate and at times a little bit intense, but I think the resolution is the right resolution and fully support the agreement.
You made comment in your comment, but I want to be sure we emphasize it, that at no point in time there was any risk to public health.
Correct. Your treatment plant is operated very efficiently and very well, and it was able to handle the discharge.
Board?
Not without extra costs and
Sure.
extra expense. Yeah, we did it, but it wasn't without additional costs.
I'd also like to echo, thank you for your help and support in this matter, but I guess I'll make a motion that we approve the proposed settlement agreement.
Second.
Motion's been made by Jamie, seconded by Dee. Any further comments? If not, would take a motion to, or all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed. Thank you, Amy, appreciate it. Up next, Street Commissioner Mark Klosterkamp. We've got several items this evening. Good evening, Mark.
Good evening. Let's start with the first item that was in your pack. We currently have the mechanic's truck, which is a 1999 Dodge. The water company took it out of service in early 2015. We've piecemealed it and band-aided it since 2015 till today. We're having suspension issues, we've got body failure, had some engine problems, and now we've got some transmission issues. And I don't know if it's going to go much farther. Needless to say, we have the funds in place. We've started to look at a used vehicle. I sent you a couple of samples. None of those have been selected. I've also found a couple more since then, and the mechanic's also working through it. So I picked a value not to exceed, I think, of $42,000 is what I put in. Or I can live with the $40,860. I haven't found anything higher than that either also. So it doesn't make any difference. But we'd like to at least go on site and inspect them all. I mean, one's in Jasper, one is in Seymour, one's in Edinburgh, one's in Rushville. Dr. King had an opportunity to talk to him this afternoon. He would rather us look at the lower mileage vehicles, just because we're going to have a lot longer life expectancy. And probably for the additional cost, it's the best price you're going to get. The other thing I want to involve, I think we're lucky that we have Kevin Fleetwood, who's a local automotive dealer here. So anything we look at in this magnitude, we run past him also and try to get his opinion, because he probably has a more in tune with a 2018 Chevy has this issue, or a 2019 Ram has this issue, and he's more in touch with that. And that way we can avoid some pitfalls.
You've had new vehicles who've gotten canceled, which kind of led to this, right?
Yes. As a matter of fact, we got lucky to find one that got canceled. And matter of fact, I started the process for the one for next year with the local dealer already, just trying to get ahead of the ballpark. But it's very tough to find good vehicles.
Yeah, I would think so. Well, obviously, we need to replace the vehicle, so it seems to be.
And I will report back with whatever the final selection process
Sure.
yields.
I have no reason to doubt your judgment or the judgment of the mechanic and others involved. So I would move approval of, I would move authorization to purchase a vehicle not to exceed $42,000.
Second.
Thank you.
Motion's been made by Glenn, seconded by Jamie. Any further comments or questions? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed. Now, would you like to get rid of the other one?
I'll try on getting rid of after we get done with the other
Okay.
purchase.
Gotcha.
It was emailed to you late today. Unfortunately, we must have got in such a hurry, we had it ready in middle of November, and then we didn't get it on the agenda and the early items to get to you. Back this year, we discussed the lack of maintenance by the state of Indiana on right-of-way throughout the city of Greensburg. And it seems to be a major concern. I think the mayor hears about it quite frequently from various folks. So we started looking and budgeting for a piece of equipment so that we could maintain that right-of-way. It's all the way along the bypass, and we want to deal with the two intersections, especially what is seen from 74 at the interchanges.
Yeah, I noticed the bypass was particularly bad this summer.
It got mowed, I think, in early April, and they didn't come back till well after Labor Day. So we just got to look at everything head high the whole summer long.
We've also talked to NDOT about that. We haven't just skipped to this solution, and they've told us that that's the statewide deal. Contract is 2 times a year whenever they want. And so if we wanted to do any further maintenance, that would be our responsibility. It is also in next year's, this was a council-approved budget line item for next year. And so we are ordering it for the mowing season of next
We
year.
needed more equipment than this for long-term, but because of the budgetary constraints, we've decided to deal with this portion this year, and hopefully we can get the balance of the equipment purchased in 2024 so that we can maintain it. But it's going to be an ongoing process. If you notice, they've let a lot of things grow up. It's pretty much a jungle. Our goal is to eventually get it back from fence row to fence row all the way through town so that it has an appeal that it doesn't have currently. So it's not going to all be necessary in year number 1. I went through Sourcewell, who does it nationwide. They go out and they look at various pieces of equipment. They contact vendors. They do the entire bidding and the quoting process for you. And then as a member of that, we're eligible to make purchases at the price that they've negotiated. What you've seen in the things that were emailed to you, the tractor is a 24% discount, 24.2. I believe the flex wing mower was right around 20% for that. But the total for the 2 items together on the quote was $118,866.28.
Did they give us any idea on life expectancy of the equipment or anything like that?
These items, 12 to 15 years. Now there's a piece that we have to have that's more of a finish type mower. It's going to be something, they said if it lasts 5 years because of the environment it's in, just be thankful. So when we started doing our 10-year planning out, we looked at a 5-year cycle for replacement of that piece of equipment accordingly. This one, 12 to 15 years should not be an issue whatsoever. And it will have residual value.
I was just sitting here thinking, making sure that we're capturing that, so we're saving enough money over time to when we're ready, we can replace it.
I won't say we'll capture it, but we have it planned for, and we have scheduled it for the necessary replacements going forward through 2031.
Mark, would you please address having the personnel available to operate the equipment?
Yes, the purchase of the equipment was just a portion thereof. Early in the process of budgeting, we have added a substantial amount of part-time labor because we're going to need that in the summer months to operate this. We also increased our fuel budget accordingly based on estimated fuel consumption. I've had discussion with Tom Linkle, who happens to operate and bid several contracts in the state of Indiana. And then we've also put in a cost for repairs. It might be new equipment, but inevitably because of the conditions we're in, we know we're going to be buying bush hog blades, things like that. So we do have some repair costs in place. Any other questions?
If not, would take a motion to approve the purchase from Sourcewell as presented.
So moved.
Motion's been made. Second by Dee. Anything else? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed.
Okay. Now we'll start on the disposal list.
Mark, before you move on, thank you for looking into all that and planning for the future in regards to the equipment and regards to the personnel. Appreciate it.
Part of the job, but thank you. Okay, now that we've bought things, we gotta get rid of a few. The 1999 shop truck, I'm going to try to just go ahead and let that be a trade-in piece of equipment if we can find one that meets our needs. The condition it's in, I don't want to sell it to anybody. In other words, let the dealership do what he feels necessary, and he can assume that liability. That's item number one. Item number two, we purchased the flatbed truck here a month or so ago. We have a 2006 GMC that it is replacing. I would like the opportunity to go ahead and advertise that. We'll place that out front, and then we'll open bids for that probably in February at the Board of Works meeting. That's the way I'd like to dispose of that. The third item, we replaced a Western plow, snow plow, and the only thing we have left is pretty much the frame and part of the blade. We've robbed the cylinders, we've robbed the hoses, we've robbed the pumps, the motors, everything of value we could take off of it. And I'd like to go ahead and take the remainder of it and just go to River Metals with it. So those are the three pieces of equipment I want to dispose of, the three methods of getting rid of it.
Alex, have a question?
I think you can lump those into
One motion.
one motion to dispose as presented.
That's what my intention. So I would move that, give authorization to dispose the three items identified by Mark and as he outlined.
Second.
Motion made by Glenn, second by Jamie. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mark.
Zeke Smith, wastewater superintendent. Good evening, Zeke.
Good evening, Board, Mayor. A couple quick items here to update you on. The first one will be the 701 North Ohio Street property addition. I discussed that last month. So that's a property that's located right next to our Ohio Street lift station. So a couple appraisals did come back in for that recently. They came back in an average of just under 110,000. If you can recall, last month the asking price of that was 125,000. So came in about 15,000 less, which was awesome for the city. So we were prepared to offer 109,500. So I did get that purchase agreement signed today and sent back to the realtor. So the wheels of motion are kind of in progress there. So I will update you guys once there's a closing and we can kind of move forward on that. So that was the first thing. The second update is the UV disinfection system bid. We did have a public bid last week on that. There was only one bid that was received. That was from O'Mara, so that was obviously will be awarded to O'Mara on that. They will be receiving their paperwork on that later this week. And so far, there's really no real hiccups as far as getting that purchased and installed by our next disinfection season, which is April of 23. The only thing we're looking at of maybe areas of concern would be there's a couple of tubs, fiberglass tubs that go inside the effluent weir that we're going to have to be installed. Those may be a month or so later than we had kind of hoped to get them, but other than that, we are pretty much on schedule for that install by April of 23. So
You said we only got one bid. Is it in line with what we expected or thought?
just under our.
Okay, so just making sure.
We're good there. So.
You have that number with you by chance?
Yeah, it's 887,000. I think we had a budget right around $1 million for that. So. But yeah, that's the update on that.
Plus the Strand engineering cost.
Yes, correct. Plus engineering costs. So, any questions on either of those two items?
Thank you for the update.
You're very welcome.
And I also would like to publicly express appreciation for your work on our first item of business. You really did do a marvelous job on that, so thank you very much for that.
Appreciate the kind words. Thanks, guys.
I would say, yeah, if we could just have a formal I mean, it was the only bid, but if we could just have a formal motion approving the award of that contract to Amera.
I'll make a motion that we approve the bid of that contract to Amera.
Second?
Motion's been made by Jamie, second by Rodney. Any further? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Perfect. Thanks, Ethan.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks. Thank you, Chris. Keep us straight.
Okay, Amy.
Yes, in your packet, I have several, larger pieces of furniture that we do not need in our office any longer. I have sent these out to all the department heads in the city. Actually, there's less on here than I originally had because the wastewater did take a giant filing cabinet. And then one of these pieces I have decided to go ahead and keep, but the rest are not needed, but I just hate to throw them away. So I don't know, I guess I'm open to options because they're still functional, but I don't know if I don't know if donation is an option or.
Can you give an example of what they are?
Right here.
I was gonna say, I
That's
don't
all
know.
look.
Can we ask
Yeah.
some of the local, like, not-for-profits and charity groups if they would like to take them up first come, first served?
I, having not specifically looked at all of the items, it's okay.
File cabinets and a
Desk,
dining room.
file cabinets.
I would say, given the fact that I believe they probably have nominal value, I think you certainly could offer those as donation to nonprofits. I would also suggest that you might contact the local schools that we have here. That's something that, office equipment is something that is always of use to teachers, educators, and the like. But I do think that because it has nominal value, that you can dispose of it, and rather than, and I agree with you and commend you for saying, rather than simply filling a landfill with it, let's donate it to someone who can get use out of it. But yeah, I don't think you need to do any specific procedure to go forward with disposing of that, other than for this body to approve the disposal.
Okay.
I know, I like the idea of also reaching out to the schools, so that's fair.
Start there, maybe then, but the schools is that the preference?
Can you vote first come?
Yeah.
Can we get it?
Yeah, that might be the better way to go,
Okay.
actually. I mean, I agree with you, but there's a lot of needs out there. And I would just make a list and send it out. And who wants it, first come, first serve? Be my recommendation too. And on that note, I would approve, I give authorization for you to dispose of the listed items.
Second.
Motion made by Glenn, second by Dee. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay. Last item on the agenda this evening, we have a member who is stepping down at the end of the year. Dee, thank you for serving with us for the last 3 years. You and Christian are off on another adventure outside the city. Thanks for being a part of the board and for serving the community in this capacity.
Thank you. I did want to say thank you for the opportunity, Josh, for allowing me to serve the community in this capacity. I've learned a lot. I've enjoyed my time, and I look forward to finding other ways to serve the community moving forward.
Well, thank you.
Board, anything else? Lindsay Job is with us this evening in the second row, which isn't the back row, so great job, Lindsay. Next month we'll move you up here, okay? She's going to step into this, and Lindsay, I think you'll have an opportunity to tell us about yourself next month, but nurse practitioner with Decatur County Memorial Hospital and been in the community a long time, young kids, family here as well, so we're looking forward to having you serve us in this capacity as well, so welcome aboard.
Thank you.
Board, anything else? Yes, Dr. King.
Thank you for balancing all the responsibilities that you have and still be able to help us. Much, much appreciated.
Okay. We've got to approve the claims. Everybody wants to get paid in December. You have a copy of those. Any questions, comments? If not, take a motion to approve the claims as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Rodney, second by Jamie. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed. We will have a executive session for interviews on Friday morning, 9 a.m. here at City Hall. And then after that, I wish you all a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year and Happy Holidays.
You said Friday at 9 a.m.?
Yep.
That's definitely said.
Yes. Kristen has published. Yeah, we are locked in. If nothing else, take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Last one, congratulations. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed. Thanks, everyone. We'll see you at City Council meeting at 6:30.